This video is not going to be easy for me. What's up, nail crew? It's Nicole, your fellow nail obsessed DIYer, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about a pretty serious topic. It is how doing my nails helped me grieve the loss of my mother. I've been going back and forth for a while on debating if this is something that I want to share with everybody, but I just feel like there are so many people grieving the loss of a parent, a spouse, a child, someone that you really cared about, a partner. And I just felt like, I needed to do this and talk about it. And maybe this will help somebody to realize that you're not alone. You don't have to grieve alone. And there are things that, I've figured out that I need to do for myself to help me through this grieving. For anybody who hasn't watched my video about why I started dipping, basically, I got into dipping in 2019. It was the 1-year mark of my mom's passing in July of 2018, and I wanted to do something for myself. I just felt this overwhelming just grief. I mean, well, the whole first year is basically just a bunch of numbness. The first year I was after her passing, I was 17 weeks pregnant with my third when she passed. So it was, just a really, really difficult time then, being pregnant and having a new baby and trying to figure out what life was like without my mom. And around the 1-year mark, I thought I needed to do something to kind of honor her, do something for myself. And she always told me to go get my nails done. If something was ever wrong, go get your nails done. When I got laid off from my very first job out of college, she was just like, oh, get upset for today, and then we're going to go get a mani-pedi. So it was anytime anything bad happened, anything sad, anything happy, it was a reason for us to go to the nail salon together and celebrate. Well, I went and I enjoyed it, but at the same time, I was like, what the heck? Why is it so expensive for a manicure and a pedicure? I have to be able to do my own nails. This feels really good. I like having them done. So I started getting into gels. Back in back in July of 2019, I started getting into gels, and then I quickly realized that I have the painting skills of a 4-year-old. So I saw advertisements for dip on my Facebook, since Facebook listens to everything. Then I started doing dip powders and, never looked back. And now I did eventually get back into gel once I got comfortable with dipping. But that's really what pushed me into this. So how does this play into how I've grieved over the past, at this point, it's almost 4.5 years since my mom passed away. And, saying that out loud is something that's really, really hard for me. I just never thought this would happen. My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 triple negative breast cancer in October of 2016, October of 2016. For anyone who doesn't know, triple negative is one of the rare bad ones that you don't want to get if you get breast cancer because it's super aggressive. And most people with stage 4 only live 9 months to about 1.5 years. So that was about what, she made it, a little over 1.5 years after her diagnosis. When we were going through that, when she was doing all of her treatments, I just had this I'm a very type A personality. So I had just had this take charge, go, go to appointments with her and my dad. I don't think I ever really let myself process what was happening. I knew she was really sick. I knew she wasn't going to make it. I knew she was going to eventually pass away. It was stage 4. Right from the start, I actually reached out to a friend who's a medical professional, and asked her to talk to the breast cancer department where she worked, and she did, and they gave me the very real statistics. So from the very start, I just felt like I needed to know. So I always knew that she wasn't going to live long, but I just have sometimes such a fierce personality that I was just determined to do everything I could to help my parents, to help her get the best care, live as long as possible, be as positive as possible. And, which I know I needed, they needed. And I don't regret anything. I don't regret anything I did with my mom. I am so happy that I spent so much time with her, that I got to go to her appointments. But the aftermath of all that is, what happens after you lose a parent? And how do you go keep on living without having your parent here? And as I'm doing this, I'm trying not to cry because I have never talked. I mean, I talk very openly about losing my mom with my friends. I'm very open about my grief, but I've never talked publicly about it. I've never even posted on my personal Facebook page outside of when she passed. But I just feel like there are too many people suffering in silence and grieving in silence. And all the things that people say to you incorrectly, even with good intentions, that, oh, you'll get over it, or, oh, you'll learn to be okay. Well, I mean, you learn to function, you learn to be okay, but it's a different kind of okay. You're not okay, but you're okay because you have no choice but to be okay. And I have 3 little kids. I have no choice but to be okay. So what does all this have to do with my nails? Well, when I started doing my nails, it just felt like this intense like feeling of her being around, because I could like laugh and think, oh man, she would just really have enjoyed me doing her nails and we would have had so much fun. And now thinking, oh my gosh, she'd been giving me a hard time about how many dip powders I have and saying I was a bit excessive. But every time I felt like things were getting the emotions were just drowning me. The grief was just drowning me, because that's sometimes what it feels like. It literally feels like I'm drowning in grief. And on those nights, I go and I do my nails, and I totally focus on just doing my nails and nothing else. I can block out for, even if it's, for 2 hours, I can block out the grief, the emotion, everything that is going on, and just focus on having fun nails. And sometimes I FaceTime with one of my good friends and we laugh and we talk. I've FaceTime with a bunch of friends when I'm doing my nails. All these things, all these positive things have come out of doing my nails. I've met this wonderful, wonderful group of women through doing my nails. The more that we talk, the more I see how many of us are grieving different things. You see how many people are going through really difficult times in their life. We come back and we all go back to doing our nails because it helps us take away just for a little bit to breathe and to take a break from all the hard stuff that's going on. And for me, that's, it's normal stuff in my life, difficulty with kids, with, things like that. But a lot of it for me is the grief. I've realized that grief is like, it's basically like standing on the beach right at the edge of the water. And sometimes the water is like just sloshing out there. The waves are barely tapping your feet. And you can, see out in the distance, there's big waves. And sometimes, the tide comes in. And if you stood in that same spot, you would be just getting pounded with waves. And that's like what grief is, because sometimes it goes out and it's calmer, but it's always still there. It's always still there. And sometimes it feels like you are drowning in a monsoon. And if I can have one thing that just takes me out of my grief, out of my head for just a little bit and gives me that break, I've realized that that's something that's super healthy for me. And I don't know if that'll help everybody, but it certainly helped me to have something that I can do that is just fun. And for a while, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to like really figure out all these things with my nails and do all this stuff. And it just got to be too much. And that's why I took like a 3-week break recently. Part of why I took a 3-week break, just to give myself time to breathe and remember, like, not only let my hands heal because I like beat the crap out of them, just remind myself that I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this because I enjoy it. It helps my mental state. It helps me handle the grief, because on days that I'm really struggling, I go and I do my nails and I smile because it brings me joy. So whether you're doing your nails or whether you're, I don't know, taking a run outside, all these things are so, so important if you're grieving. The other thing that like I've really learned, there's been times where I've sat and done my nails by myself. One of the times where I haven't been on with a friend, and I've literally sat and cried through most of the time I'm doing my nails. Sometimes it just happens because I finally sit down and you stop from all the crazy running around in life and you just get hit by all the emotions of your grief, or, for somebody else, whatever you're dealing with. And it gives me some time to, sometimes I need the time to focus and just think about my mom and cry and let it out, because I tried for a while keeping my emotion. Well, when she first passed away, I cried all the time. I basically, like, my husband had to physically pick me up off the floor because I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the strength to lift myself up because I'd be just hysterically sobbing like night after night after night. And then those times got less. It wasn't that the pain hurt less. It was just that I had to keep living. And that was something that, like, I promised my mom that I would never stop living and enjoying life with my husband and kids. And, you know, there are times where I can't do that. And I've realized that's okay. And I try my best, because at the end of the day, like, I'm here and she's not. And if I don't figure out a way how to live through the grief that I feel, then I'm not living. And I'm certainly not doing her any justice or honoring her if all I'm focused on is her being gone instead of the people that are here in my life. Doing my nails really just helps me focus and reset and be able to give the attention and care to the rest of my life that it deserves. Something else that really has brought me a lot of joy through doing my nails was finding this amazing community of people and being able to help people. That's a huge reason why I wanted to start my YouTube channel. I just felt like there are so many people who need help and who deserve to have nice nails, deserve to have something fun and positive in their life. My mom was a teacher, and while I could never teach children, because I'll be honest, I'm not a kid person. I adore my own children, like, with my entire heart, can play with them all the time. But, like, I was never somebody who could be a teacher, like, yay, let me hang out with other people's kids. That's a pass for me. But yeah, I just admitted that. Being able to help so many people just gives me this connection to her and makes me, I get why she wanted to be a teacher, because being able to help people and finding the joy through other people's happiness and seeing that what you're doing helps somebody is such a wonderful thing. And, you know, when I tell people, like, hey, let me know if you have any questions, I'm happy to help, I legitimately mean it. I love helping people. I love talking about my nails, and it brings me a joy that is something that I never expected in this part of my life. You know, and my family brings me so much joy, but to have something outside of my family that brings me this kind of happiness and joy has truly been a blessing. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you'd like to keep talking about more. If you want to talk about grief or hard things and you like sitting here and listening, because it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to talk about it. It's healthy to talk about it. If talking about feelings wasn't your jam and you just want to get back to some nail content, check out this next video on how I apply dip powders. Thanks so much for joining me, nail crew.